The Globe Finance headlines of the CBC Evening News.
PSV owners facing license suspension if operators flout the dress code. No war zones here, say secondary school principals. And in sports, South Africa booked their ticket to the World Cup knockout round.
With the compliments of Globe Finance, those are the headlines of tonight's edition of the Evening News. Next on CBC.
Credible, balanced, committed. This is the CBC Evening News.
Hello, good evening. I'm Lisa Broom. This is the CBC Evening News. The owners of public service vehicles are being put on notice. They have to ensure their employees conform to the PSV uniform dress code, or they will face having their licenses suspended or units pulled off the road. Peter Thorne has the story.
The strong warning to PSV owners has been issued by the chairman of the Transport Authority, Abdul Pandor. Speaking to reporters at the authority's Roebuck Street offices, he announced a zero-tolerance policy to non-compliance with PSV uniforms following the expiration of the March 1st deadline.
I just want to let the operators know that we intend to take a strict stance in making sure they adhere to the wearing of uniforms. As I say, we have the process where we can take them to court, but on top of that, we, the inspectors, the directors, and even the civilians complain, and if we have enough grounds that they're not adhering and they're given some warning and they repeat it, we are going to take action against the owners. If it means putting them off the road for a few days, suspending the permit for a few days.
Mr. Pandor says so far the Transport Authority has revoked the permits of about 20 owners for various infractions of the road traffic laws. He says in the past they went after PSV drivers and conductors, but he feels it's time that the owners help bear the burden for irresponsible acts on the road. Mr. Pandor says they have also gone after private vehicle operators on several routes across Barbados.
In this regard, too, the authority has set up a hotline, and we are hoping that the general public, all civilians, will use this feature. If they see people pirating, if they see things are wrong, call in. But they must be prepared to call in and come and give evidence. Just call in, and then when we want the evidence, nobody comes in. We cannot do anything with it. But if the public out there would be, again, more vigilant when they see something, report it. Take a picture with your camera, do something, help us. Be willing to come in and give evidence. I think we can clean up a lot of all the ills that we are seeing.
Director of the Transport Authority and representative of the Commissioner of Police on the board, Station Sergeant Rodney Innes, says so far the majority of PSV employees have complied with the directive to wear uniforms.
They've been complying thus far. There have been one or two persons that we've seen who we've asked to put in. Yes, said, yes, we have uniform, we go back and we put them on. So it's an offense and we will continue to enforce it.
Manager of the Transport Authority, Alex Linton, says the issue of drivers and conductors of PSVs having convictions for dozens of offences has been a worry for the Transport Authority.
Once we do a discipline committee meeting and we do our checks, if they commit offences, we take necessary action. Now, we have already taken action in revocating permits. We have already taken action in calling in the fraud squad. So we have taken this action already. It's not something which we are foreign to, and we intend to continue doing that going forward.
There are around 800 public service vehicles on Barbados' roads, including transport board units operating on 70 routes. Peter Thorne, CBC News.
Thanks, Peter. Not our schools. That's the response from the Barbados Association of Principals of Public Secondary Schools to suggestions that some Barbadian schools are like war zones. The term was used during a recent dispute that involved the Barbados Union of Teachers and two secondary school principals. President of BAPS, Veer Paris, says serious violence is not part of everyday life in local schools.
There is no compelling evidence of a school system replete with serious violence. It behoves us, however, to eliminate or reduce even that which is present.
Mr. Paris was speaking at a seminar on reducing violence in secondary schools organized by the Ministry of Education, UNICEF Barbados, and Northampton University. There, he broke down some of the findings of a survey conducted with the assistance of 15 principals. It highlighted social media threats and cyberbullying as contributing to some fights and a trend where parents attack teachers. Over 30 recommendations were made, including the reduction of the student roll and limiting their exposure to violence.
Early intervention through external agencies when students present problems. 2. Increasing rewards for positive behavior. 3. Education about the proper use of social media. 4. Intensification of conflict resolution education. 5. Regular patrols of school by administration. 6. Develop a network of students who are proactive in supplying information, read pending outbreaks of violence.
The late Prime Minister and leader of the Barbados Labour Party, Tom Adams, has been hailed as one of the most outstanding and gifted Barbadians of our history. The description from former cabinet colleague Sir Richard Cheltenham at the 6th Tom Adams Memorial Lecture at the Grand Salle. Sir Richard says Tom was a prominent and distinguished Barbadian leader, as well as a great human being who made a transformative impact on his country. He adds that the former Prime Minister was also a man of vision. Sir Richard says the passing of the Tenantry Freehold Purchase Act, which allowed Barbadians to buy their properties from plantations for substantially reduced rates, was one of Mr. Adams' greatest acts.
It can be argued that Tom Adams, by taking the initiative to provide a peppercorn rate to the descendants of slave workers, the piece of plantation land which they occupied, at 10 cents a square foot, not exceeding $300, is an act of reparation, and it must be seen in that context. It was, in Tom's thinking, an attempt to right a cruel wrong. He wanted to pay the plantation owners nothing, but he was persuaded that he would rank with Mugabe and others as a confiscator if he did so.
The former cabinet minister says Mr. Adams put a huge emphasis on Parliament and its traditions as a forum for the people's business, adding that he always supported free and fair elections and a strong democracy. Sir Richard says late Prime Minister Adams envisioned a 4-lane highway for Barbados, but met resistance from the Inter-American Development Bank and had to settle for smaller lanes. He says proposing that plan in the early 1980s showed that Mr. Adams was a man ahead of his time. The Barbados Kidney Association and Capita Financial Service today joined the rest of the world to mark World Kidney Day. Both organizations are working to raise awareness about kidney diseases. That's why this morning the BKA set up a system for people to get free testing of their blood and sugar levels. As president of the association, Marguerite Wilson explains, unhealthy lifestyles are often linked to kidney disease. She says the association has a food nutritional program called 94 Life, which assists kidney patients.
We're not treating kidney disease. We leave that for Dr. Bell and the other doctors to treat. What we're doing is giving the body all the food nutrients that it would need, and we are seeing some phenomenal results. It's 90 for life, and what we're doing, we want to do the adjunct to that, which is the ozone therapy. When you have kidney failure, it is not that your kidneys are damaged or anything like that. It is that the blood, the vessels taking the blood to the kidneys are blocked. And so we want to unblock those kidneys by what we eat.
President and CEO of Capital Finance Service, Paul Maxwell, says there will be a concert to raise funds for the BKA. The event, entitled Rosemary Phillips and Friends Concert, will be held on Saturday, April 4th at the Frank Cullimore Hall. A team from Northampton University in the UK is on island conducting a case study on social and emotional learning. The team is already hard at work, having met with senior officials in the Ministry of Education and visiting several schools. Senior Education Officer Joy Adamson says the finding can help education officials to design policies to assist. She is of the view many risky behaviors such as drug use, violence and bullying in schools can be prevented and reduced.
Obviously, this can be best done through effective classroom instruction, student engagement in positive activities in and out of the classroom, and a broad parent and community involvement in all plans and programs for the school, implementation of these programs, and evaluating these programs. These, ladies and gentlemen, are all principles of what we call here in Barbados the school's positive behavior management program, which the majority of our schools have been exposed to.
One local foundation has assisted the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in creating a relaxing environment for patients undergoing dialysis. The Ivy Viola Williams Foundation has provided $8,000 in equipment, including a flat-screen television, a DVD player, a computer and printer, a recliner and a wheelchair. Trustee of the foundation, Paul Williams, says the group is pleased to assist the QEH at this time.
This is always a very interesting area, the kidneys, because the kidneys control the quality of life that we have. And it's an area that affects a lot of Barbadians due to the diabetes and the high rate of diabetes that we have. So we are proud that we can come on board with the QEH, with Dr. Bell, and with this unit to provide this equipment, which will inform and educate a lot of people who do have kidney issues. So it's a pleasure to be of assistance to you all.
Coordinator of peritoneal dialysis at the QEH, Marcellus Seeley, assured the equipment will be put to good use.
We have been using the computer and thing for our work and for our teaching of our patients. They come in at a good time for us, and we will make good use of it